A big hello to all my fellow Scrum Masters. Welcome to one more live demo simulation session. Friends, there are so many articles, books, YouTube videos on sprint refinement, but none of them shows us how it actually looks like in real world. This session is our small attempt to solve that problem. We have done similar live demo simulation sessions for the sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective in the past, so go and check them as well. Link of all those sessions are in the description box. Friends, our team of experienced Scrum Masters spend a lot of their personal time for this session. So you all can learn from it and be successful in your job. Please appreciate their efforts in the form of big like. And if you are new to our channel, Careers Talk, then please do subscribe. You will find tons of valuable content for the Scrum Master on our channel. So let's begin this session without further delay. Over to you, Shobik.
Hi everyone, I'm Shavik and I'm an experienced Agile and Lean practitioner with 13 plus years of experience. I bring more joy to the workspace and I increase productivity by helping executives, managers, and employees to create a better work environment. I'm passionate about inspiring teams on Agile values and principles and also transforming the team towards building a frictionless organization. So, why we are here today? So in today's session, we are going to discuss about backlog refinement. We will do a deep dive and also experience how it's done, right? And how it's done in real world and in real projects with real people. So without further ado, let's begin. What is backlog refinement? So product backlog refinement is a method of keeping the backlog updated, clean, and in the order of priority. So backlog refinement is a collaborative discussion process to decide if the backlog is ready for next sprint or maybe next couple of sprints. If the backlog is well maintained, a lot of time is saved at a sprint planning, right? And if the user stories are well defined, acceptance criteria clearly mentioned, risk and dependency identified and highlighted, and even cross-checked by all the team members, then the planning meeting will be easy for the team. And this backlog refinement, it also gives us an opportunity to the team members to interact with each other regarding the stories and have a shared understanding. It increases the efficiency of the team by reducing uncertainties, right? And refined stories are always easy to estimate, develop, and test and implement, right? So that's what the backlog refinement is all about. So there are a few noteworthy points. Backlog refinement is not a scrum event. Okay, we will talk more about this in the next slide. And the Scrum team decides who, how, and when this refinement will be done. So there is no fixed criteria. It again depends on the product that team are building and differs from team to team. Refinement usually consumes no more than 10% of the capacity of the development team, right? And the product backlog items can be updated at any point of time by product owner or at the product owner's discretion. So as we all know, right, product backlog is owned by product owner, so he can update the product backlog at any point of time. Yeah. Okay, so as we discussed in the previous slide, that backlog refinement is not a Scrum event. So there's a lot of confusion among the people, especially who are new to the world of Scrum. That refinement is one of the Scrum event. So we all know like there are 5 Scrum events, and refinement is not part of it. But why refinement is not part of it, right? What is the reason? So we if you see, like, refinement is not same for all the scrum teams, right? We can't say that we can universally apply this refinement meeting to all the scrum teams in the world, right? We can't say that it's a silver bullet, one size fits all kind of meeting. It varies based on the team and the product and the complexity of the work, right? And maybe the question that you can ask me is, if it's not an event, then what it is? So it is actually a product management practice, right? It can be used by a product owner to make sure that the product backlog is healthy. It is in the order of priority. It is well thought through, and it has got all the required information there, right? So another very important reason why it is not an event is that we can't have a predefined set of attendees or a predefined duration or predefined frequency for this backlog refinement. It is very contextual. Do we have an upper limit that it should not take more than 10% of the capacity of the development team? But we are not very sure, like, what should be the least amount of capacity that development team should put in, or the Scrum team, rather the Scrum team should put in into refinement. If the product that the team is working is pretty simple and not, I will not say simple because Scrum is applied in a complex world. If I say the product that the team is building uh, is they have the roadmap clear, they have mm, uh, the product is evolving, and they can in the team is mature and they can do the refinement even during their sprint planning. They don't need a refinement. But then there is a team who need to more time to do refinement, so they must be spending at least 10% of their time in a sprint doing the refinement for the next future sprints, right? So it again depends on team to team, product to product, and it's very contextual in nature. Let's discuss who should participate in backlog refinement. So as we discussed in the previous slide that there is no predefined set of attendees, but let's see who are the primary participants for backlog refinement. So ideally, if we are having a team, is Scrum team is having a backlog refinement, the product owner, the Scrum masters, and the developer should be part of the planning meeting. So that is the requirement. Like the whole Scrum team should be there. But again, it's not mandatory. In case there are the cases where product owner, along with a couple of the Scrum team members, couple of developers, can have a meeting. So that is also kind of refinement, or just a product owner and a Scrum master can have a meeting. That's also kind of refinement. So it again depends, right? But ideally, the whole Scrum team should be present because the idea is to have the shared understanding, right? And then we can also invite the stakeholders or the other business sponsors. uh, uh, so suppose we need some clarity around the business requirements, or we need some clarity around the product goal, and maybe a PO can explain that, or PO needs some help to help in explaining that to the team. He can invite the stakeholders and his business sponsors into this meeting so that they can come in and share their views, help the team in clarifying doubts. So yes, we can invite stakeholders and other business sponsors only, and they can only join upon invitation. It should not be like they can force in themselves into the meeting. Okay. And thirdly, we can also invite some cross-functional team members, maybe architects, or the UX designer, or maybe business analysts, or maybe if there is any center of excellence team, right, who are working or building new logical solution, new technical solutions, and this team will get some need to implement that in their future sprints. So they can invite those person to gain that knowledge, gain their learnings, or learn more about what they have built, so that the team don't have to reinvent things from the scratch, and they can reuse which is already built. Or maybe the architect who can help the team, the development team member, to decide on okay, which approach is best suited or sustainable, right? So again, optionally, we can request any member, any cross-functional team member for their feedback or for their inputs into the backlog refinement meeting. Okay, so let's divide the backlog refinement into three parts, like what is needed to be done before backlog refinement, what's needed to be done during backlog refinement, and what's needed to be done after backlog refinement. So first of these three parts is like before backlog refinement, who is responsible for doing what? So I'll go by points. So product owner need to create the user stories. So it's the responsibility of the product owner, because he is the one who owns the product backlog, to make sure that the user stories are created, right? And it is created keeping the invest criteria in mind, and also the definition of ready in mind. Because without this two, especially without the definition of ready, it will not be accepted by the Scrum team members, right? Like right by the developers for starting the work. Yeah. And when I'm saying product owner needs to create the user story, again, it's not a hard and fast rule. It is recommended that product owner will create a user story, but when you go on the ground, so sometimes he product owner, business analysts or work very closely with them, and they create the user stories. The direction comes from product owner, and the business analyst used to create it. But yeah, ideally the product owner is the one who are supposed to create the user stories, keeping the invest criteria in mind and the definition of ready in mind. What else we are going to do in before backlog refinement? Okay, so yeah, product owner, based on his vision, his discussions with the stakeholders or the sponsors, and based on the product goal, he will prioritize the backlog. Like whatever user stories he has created, he will analyze, or he will, maybe the scrum master can help the product owner with some prioritization techniques and help the PPI or the user stories that were there in the backlog on the order of priority, which will generate maximum value for the customer or for our stakeholders, right? So that the prioritization will need to be done by product owner before we get into the refinement meeting. Next, Scrum Master. So what should the Scrum Master do before the refinement? So Scrum Master need to coordinate with the product owner to identify what are the potential prioritized user stories that need to be refined. So Scrum Masters will have a quick chat with the product owner, uh, ask him like, okay, what's your plan? Like, what is the plan for the next sprint or next to next sprint? What are the demands from the customers, or what the stakeholders need? Let's prioritize those items and keep it ready for the refinement. Try to create the user stories, try to put in whatever we know as of now into the user stories, the descriptions, the acceptance criteria, and then the any dependency and risk that we can think of. Put everything in there, and then during the refinement we can discuss more, right? So that's an idea. The Scrum Master should promptly reach out to the product owner before the refinement, make sure that the potential prioritized user stories are there and ready to be taken up during the refinement for discussion, right? Now, what the development team should do before refinement. So ideally, the Scrum Master should communicate once PO and the Scrum Master collaborated and identify. Okay, these are the set of five user stories, or six user stories that we are planning to discuss in our next refinement. Maybe Scrum Master can send out a note to the whole team, and the team, based on their available bandwidth, can go through this user stories before coming into the meeting, so that it will give them an opportunity or some bandwidth to prepare accordingly. Like they will have the time to think through what are the requirements, or what are the kind of questions they can ask during the refinement, and what all can be the risk and dependency. So sometimes, since it's refinement maybe can be a 1 hour long meeting, and while product owner is explaining something, the developers may not be able to think on all the aspects. But if the scrum master is sharing the user stories beforehand, the scrum team or the developers, they can go through the list of user stories that are going to be discussed as part of requirement, and they will have some time to think on all the different aspects of that, and can come up with more relevant questions, right? Which may not be feasible in that short period of 1 hour. So that's something that good Scrum teams do. And lastly, as we discussed, we can invite people who are not part of the Scrum team, like optional members from different cross-functional teams, like architects, or sometimes the business sponsor stakeholders. So if we share the same set of user stories with them, they can also go through them user stories and come prepared, like, okay, how they can contribute, what all inputs they can give during the discussions that we're going to have during the refinement. Yeah. Okay, so what we do during this backlog refinement meeting. So Scrum Master facilitate this backlog refinement session, and to kickstart, he will ask or remind the participant, like all the developers, that they should ask questions, and he encourage engagements basically, and he will make sure that the whole meeting is time boxed, and all the time is best utilized just for the refinement, right? The idea is to focus on more on what needs to be built and why it's need to be built, and less on the how part, like how it needs to be built, right? That thing can park the team can park it for some other meeting, right? So to start with, the product owner will describe the user stories, the prioritized set of user stories that were taken for refinement to the team. He will explain about all the different criteria, maybe all the acceptance criteria, what is the business value, what is the workflow look like, what is the usability, what are the risks, what are the performance dependencies, and what are the interface, etc., etc. So there can be many things. And once the product owner explain a user story to the whole team, at that point of the time, the team, or if in case there are some other members who are outside the team are attending that meeting, they can discuss around on that user story. And if they have any doubts, they will seek the clarification from the product owner, right? And the team also discuss around the amount of work, the technical challenges or technical dependencies, complexity, etc., etc. And they try to seek the clarity among themselves. And if there are open questions, they go back to the product owner to seek more clarity on that. Okay? So that's what the development team members do during the refinement meeting. And sometimes what happens, say if there is some questions which need answers, which the questions are more on a technical side where the PO may not be able to provide clarity. And if any architect is there in the meeting, so the architect is kind of a member outside from the Scrum team. They can jump in and they can share their input, right? They can share their ideas, like, okay, how it's going to be, or how it looks like. Similarly, if the question is more around the business side and it's beyond product owner's knowledge, then, and if a business sponsor or stakeholder is there in the meeting, they can pitch in and they can help answering those questions for the team, right? So that's the idea. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so there are a few more things that we do during the backlog refinement. uh, Once the team is aligned, the team had got that shared understanding, then the Scrum Master will facilitate this estimation for that user story. So the idea is once a team like talk through a particular user story, they identified all the risk and dependency, they discussed about the complexity of that particular user story, they talked about how much effort that will go into implement that, then it's a good idea to estimate it and keep it ready for the sprint planning. So now the Scrum team will facilitate this estimation session. He can use anything, maybe a first of five or a planning poker or t-shirt sizing, whatever it is the team is comfortable and they are using. They will use that estimation techniques to estimate the user stories and then update it and keep it in the product backlog. Yeah, so that's the whole idea. And then the PO will again move it to the next user story, and he will do the same cycle until all the user stories that we identify to take up in the backlog refinement are covered, right? Now there can be few cases, few scenarios where things may go not as per plan. So let's discuss about those. uh, Suppose there is a user stories that, okay, team understood what is the complexity, what is the effort sizing, what are the dependency, what are the uncertainties, and after the discussion and the team does go for the estimation, and the estimations were too high, like it's in the range of 8, 10, or 13. uh, and then or maybe if you are doing a t-shirt sizing, it's in the range of XL or L. So it's a good idea to break it down into smaller one. So the team will get in a discussion again, and uh, with PO's discretion, PO can split those big stories into the smaller stories, keeping the invest criteria in mind, right? And if it's possible, we can do that. Then we will just do a reestimate for those two splitted stories, two sliced stories, and give the story points and park it in the product backlog. So that's one of the thing that we can do. What else? Another scenario. Say while discussing one of the user story, there are some questions raised by the team where PO don't have the answer, and we don't have the uh, stakeholders or the customers in the call. So in that case, PO is not in a position to give an answer, and without that answer, there is too much of uncertainty around that user story where team can't even move ahead and give estimate that particular user story. So in those scenarios, a Scrum Master will suggest or propose to park this user story for the next refinement, and request the product owner to go back and get clarification on these open questions around this business uncertainty, right? So that's another scenario. And then the another scenario which is very typical is when there are technical uncertainty. Say now team is discussing and there is a healthy conflict between maybe two of the developers. One is saying that okay, this approach is good, it will take less time and we can release the product within 2 sprints, while the other developer, he has an idea saying that okay, this approach doesn't look sustainable because 3 months down the line we have to scale up and this approach will not help us in scaling, and at that time it will be a rework for us and we'll be adding tech debt if we go with this approach. Now there is this healthy conflict, and product owner being a person from a business side, he may not be able to answer that. So what product owner can suggest, or even if an architect is there, he can suggest, let's do a quick spy, try out both the approach, see what are the pros and cons, which is more feasible, and then we can decide. It will help us to decide like which approach will work. And until we do the spike on both the two approaches, let's park it. Yeah. So this is something which we normally you know see during the refinements. It's a very normal case. So these are the three different scenarios which you can think of. So yeah, these are the things that we do during the backlog refinement. Okay, so what we do after backlog refinement. So normally there's not much on a developer side or PO side that's need to be done after backlog refinement, until and unless there is an action item as we discussed earlier, where PO is going to seek clarity from the business, or the team is going back and doing a spike. Uh, but typically, what the Scrum Master do after backlog refinement is, or he's supposed to do is to send out the meeting minutes, and the list of stories with the story points, which were like already refined and estimated. So he will send out those to the team, uh, just to be more transparent and communicate, right? That's the idea. And Scrum Master can also send out a backlog health report. Again, it's not mandatory, but it's good to send. What is a backlog health report? If I have to just explain quickly, it's like how many user stories are there in the backlog, and out of which how many are prioritized, and out of those prioritized user stories, how many are refined and estimated. So it will give us a fair idea to everyone, the Scrum team as well as the stakeholders, like how what all things are refined and estimated and on the top of the backlog, which they can expect in future, expect in near future, right? Okay, so these are the few things that we do after the backlog refinement. Let's see what are the prerequisites for backlog refinement. So I already discussed it earlier in the previous slide. The only prerequisite thing before we get into the backlog refinement is prioritize future backlog based on the product vision and the product goal. And this needs to be done by the product owner. So it's product owner's responsibility to make sure that the backlog is prioritized in the order of value generation, and he should be able to identify the number of user stories that needs to be part of the refinement, where the team is going to discuss on that and refine and get it ready for the next sprint. Okay, now let's see what are the deliverables from the backlog refinement. So once the backlog refinement is done, we can expect three things. First is the refined user stories with the clear acceptance criteria and description, right? and and also maybe most of the times we also estimate and make it ready for the planning. So yeah, refined and estimated user stories with clear acceptance criteria and description. The other thing which is a takeaway after the backlog refinement is that the whole team is having a shared understanding, the whole team is on the same page, right? Okay, and the last thing is, if there are any dependencies which were identified during the discussion, those will be highlighted or may be added in the user stories. So it will help the team when they will get into the actual work. it's easy for them to look into, okay, these are the dependencies, or these are the point of contacts where I need to reach out. It will be easy for them to reach out to those people, or mitigate those dependencies or risks, rather than figuring out everything during implementation. So it will save a lot of time and make life of a developer very easy. Yeah, so there are these three outcomes as part of as a deliverables from a backlog refinement. With that, we are now at the end of the boring part. So what's coming up next is full of excitement and learnings. Thank you everyone for your patience, and thank you for listening. Please do like, comment, and subscribe our channel. It's your love and support which keeps us motivated to come up with new and engaging content. Yeah. So let me quickly introduce you to the team, and then I will hand it over to Sunal. Okay. Okay. So this is our Scrum team. Kirti is our product owner. Arun, Priya, Manoj, Ramya, Sashank, Venkata, Sindhu, Neha, and Shankari are our developers, and I'm playing the role of a Scrum Master. So we do have a big Scrum team, not as per the Scrum guide. So sorry about that. But yeah, thanks, and let's see what's coming up next. Over to you, Sunan.
Okay, thanks Shovik for the great presentation. And I think it's time for our live demo. So over to you, Shovik.
Yeah, thanks, Sunan, for that. Okay. Hi team, how are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you, Shovik?
Good. Good. Thanks. Great. Thanks everyone for joining, taking out time to join for our backlog refinement. So just to give you a heads up, I already communicated to you over the mail that our PO Kirti has planned to discuss 5 user stories for future sprints. So without wasting much time, I'll hand it over to Kirti. But yeah, one thing before that, so there are 5 stories, and as you know, like this meeting is time box for 1 hour. So we'll try to have a good discussion, try to have the shared understanding of all the stories that Kirti is going to explain as a team. And we will try to, I will try to see if each of the discussion for one user story does not go beyond 10 minutes. So I'll keep a time check. I'll keep you guys reminding if you guys are getting too deep into the discussion. Okay. Okay. Just a disclaimer. Over to you, Kirti.
Sure. Thank you, Shovik, for that time boxing thing. And hello, everyone. And since I can see some new faces out here, so I'll just be reiterating the product goal once so that we are all aligned and we can understand the product much better, our product much better. Okay, just a second. I'll just share my screen. And here we go. So as you all know, this is the Fintech Mobile App, a very futuristic one, which we are all proud of building. And this is the one which we are going to build in near future. But some of the features I would like to explain here now. So basically, what is a Fintech app? It's something which can do everything, right from stock shopping to payment wallets to creating new user accounts, transferring money, depositing cash, withdrawing cash, anything and everything what eases the life of any user. So we'll just be building this out, and this is what the Fintech app stands for. So as you can see, these are all the features which we are going to build in near future. So the first epic is what we are going to consider here today in our session as well, is the new account creation, because that will just kick off once the user boards in and gets onboarded on our app. Then we'll be able to have a customer profile kind of a thing, the spendings. We'll try and make things more and more easy for the user to just view, and the onboarding also of the user should be just seamless so that they don't feel much trouble joining our app. Okay, so this is the first one. The second epic is transaction management. This is a very critical part since this leads with the money dealing. So I would just like to explain the flow once based on the how transactions are going to flow in our app. So the first one is initiate relationship, where the user is going to send the request to the sender bank, and the KYC will be verified, know your customer as you call it, and the transfer request and submit transfer, and all these flows will, once it's validated, then we actually get into the money transfer part. So where the request will be flowing to the beneficiary bank, and the same way there'll be a real-time update where based on the currencies, based on the taxes, based on all the dealings of the money, the total net amount will be decided. And then once the amounts get delivered to the beneficiary, the beneficiary banks is again going to get validated. And then finally, once all the KYCs and all the validations are done, then finally the amount will be getting delivered to the beneficiary bank. And same, the distributed ledger, we are going to update all the accounts concurrently. And that is what the on-demand reports also suggest, where we are going to give the confirmation and the reports will be published. So this is what is about the transaction management. The next one is again the part of the transaction management epic, which we are going to discuss today. It's about withdrawing cash through app, which would be cardless. You heard it right. It's cardless. We are trying to have a functionality built in where we are going to go through the ATM and you forgot your card, but what do? You can't withdraw the money? No, the app is going to solve the problem by actually enabling you to withdraw cash from the ATM without using your card at all. So we are going to discuss it more based on the user stories we are going to go with. But here we are done. And any questions, team, which you would like to ask here based on the product goal, or shall we move to the user stories?
Yes, we can go to Jira.
All right. Sorry, Priya, you're saying something?
Yeah, we can go to user story.
Okay, okay, fine. So we'll go to our first user story, which is part of the transaction management epic. So as a regular fintech user, I want to transfer money from my bank account to another bank account using Fintech Mobile App so that I can easily manage my finances and pay my bills on time. So this is a regular feature which we've been using it across our apps currently, but a very important one because there will be a lot of validations in place. So the acceptance criteria goes like this. User can log into the mobile app. User can enter the desired amount to transfer. Desired amount is within user's current balance. Receiver's account information is authenticated prior to transferring the amount. Both accounts are updated concurrently after validation. Email and in-app confirmation of transactions are sent out to users and receivers. So this is our first user story, which we are going to work at. So this functionality should work for the existing ones who are already using our app, and through banks, they have already got the app in place and their transactions are already in process. But this functionality we need to enable through our mobile apps. Yeah.
Yeah, I see Neha is having a question. Please go ahead, Neha.
Yes. Yes. So we have to add beneficiary before transferring the amount.
We have to add beneficiary. That's right. We have to add beneficiary before transferring the. That's right, Neha. We have to do that.
So, how much time it will take to activate that beneficiary after adding?
So, yeah, Neha. So I would just like to answer this question. Like this time, there are two kind of transactions which are having. If we are doing a UPI payment, it can be done on real time without adding anyone. Okay, and if there are beneficiary you would like to add for, because it is going to be a recurring payment, then it should be we are targeting at around not more than 30 minutes, because there are some banks which are taking a day or so, and we want to be really competitive on this front, and we want to make it more and more real time. So it's not more than 30 minutes is what, once we add the beneficiary, it should not be more than 30 minutes to make it functional.
Okay, that's clear. And one more point, we are having some OTP verification also.
OTP verification is not required in case where OTP verification as in during the transfer of the money, or you are asking from the beneficiary's end?
No, while we are transferring money.
Okay, while we are transferring money, if you're doing through your app, there will be an OTP which will be coming post you initiate the fund transfer, not during adding the beneficiary. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Neha, for your question.
Yes, Deepika is also having a question.
Yes, Kriti, my question is like the payment, what we are doing, is it within the same bank, or we have that facility to like make transfer for other banks as well? And how are we going to proceed? Like if it is for other banks, so it is followed up with Neha's question, like do we have to authorize them before it is the same?
Yeah, so any bank it is, we have to authorize them, we have to add. But it should not be more than 30 minutes. The timelines remains the same. And to answer your first question, yes, it should be any bank. Since we will not be limited to just our bank, it will be any other bank transfer. We have to just be ready for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, Manoj, you can go next with your question.
Yeah. So what I see here, like pay my bills on time. Looks like I can use this app for paying my bills as well, right? So
yes, correct.
I feel like if I want to pay, let's say like I want to pay my electric bill. So I don't have anything to add in my like beneficiaries in my account, right? So how will I do this?
No, actually, if you see, even if you are going for paying any of the bills, there is an account number provided. So you can add that as a beneficiary for now, and then we can have this functionality in place for any of the billing partners for us. So there is a account number and there is a details provided for every site. You can add that, be it like credit card bills if you're trying to do. So you can add that as a biller and you can go ahead and do your payments.
Okay, so you mean to say like anything, whatever I'm trying to transfer money, so there should be beneficiary account number for which need to be configured in my account.
Yeah, right? So beneficiary account number or UPI, both of them is what we are targeting for this sprint at least. We are going to go it more and more deeper during our coming sprints, but this is the minimal viable feature which we want to have for this sprint, where we are just starting and kicking off with one payment kind of transfer, beneficiary and UPI.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Manoj, does that answer your question, Manoj?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank
Priya,
you, Manoj, for your question. Yeah.
I see Priya is also having a question. Maybe
yeah. So I just want to ask, there would be any upper limit for this transaction? Like you said, desired amount is within user current balance. But suppose balance is like 3 lakhs and he wants to withdraw kind of 2 lakhs. So is there any upper limit?
So it's a very good point, Priya. I think I should modify the user story with the daily amount which can be withdrawn. The maximum limit is 50,000 for now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any more question from you, Priya?
No, thanks.
Thank you. Shankari, I believe you also have something to ask.
Yeah. So is there any restriction on transferring amount to the beneficiary account if the beneficiary account is added now? And is there any limit? The transaction can happen only after 24 hours, or is there any limit within the 24 hours? Any amount is restricted?
We don't have any limitations of amount, except it should be within the limit of 50,000. And beneficiary should be, once added, it should be active within 30 minutes is what we are targeting.
Okay.
Did I answer your question, Shankari?
Yeah, yes, Kirti.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Okay, any more question from anyone? And Kirti, you just mentioned about the 30-minute limit after adding a beneficiary. Will that be part of this story? Or,
yeah, I'll just add.
Well, Kirti is adding. Is there any more question on this user story?
So Vic, this is not a question, but I'm just trying to recall. Like, I think we have already implemented something related to login that mobile app, right? So, could we use the same functionality over here also, or what is the need? Just trying to understand. The first point over here, user can log into the mobile app, right? So for login functionality, the secure like password, all those things, we have implemented that functionality earlier, right? So we are going to use the same thing, or is there any specific requirement in this user story for login perspective?
Kirti, you like to answer that?
Okay, so if for any other business bank, or you have used the existing functionality, we can definitely use the existing one, which will definitely save a lot of effort for us, and reusing will definitely be enabling us to build more and more functionality faster. So we would definitely like to go ahead with it, but look and feel should be what, as per what we have already discussed with our stakeholders, and we need to stick to that.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Manoj.
Great, guys. Thanks for asking some thought-provoking questions. If we all are good and no more question, shall we go for first of five? Estimating user story?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Let me see everyone, enlarge my video. Okay, on a count of three, maybe if you can give me what you think about the user story should be as per your estimates. Okay, so yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I see most of you are showing 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. No, that's a unanimous decision, no conflict. Okay, I see Sunan is showing it as 8. So most of us are 5, Sunan is 8. Sunan, you like to share what make you think that this user story is worth 8 story points?
I think our team members are pretty new. They have joined recently. So we never know, right, who is going to pick this. So it may take time for them, but then I believe if everyone is agree on 5, so I will also go with it.
Okay, great. Thanks guys. So Kirti, if you just update the story points to 5, and then we can move on to the next one.
Thank you, team, for wonderful questions. Really appreciate it. Okay, so we are done with user story number 1. We'll go to the next story. Okay, so the next story is pretty interesting. As a regular Fintech app user, I want to withdraw cash from my bank account to another bank account using Fintech Mobile App so that I can easily withdraw cash without using my card. So the user story says that like I explained during the product vision, what we have, we want to make the transactions more and more seamless for the users, and the card should not be a mandatory thing for withdrawing your cash. Okay, so once user can log into the mobile app, user can enter the desired amount to withdraw. They definitely have to go to the ATM machine, and this card technology can be drawn using the quick QR code. So there are QR code which pops up on your screen, in the mobile screen, and the ATM also, when you enter there's an option of scanning the QR code in the ATM. When you scan that QR code, which is reflected in your mobile, so that and the desired amount you have already entered, based on which the QR code will get generated. Once this is within the desired amount, the cash will be withdrawn from the ATM, and the accounts should get concurrently updated both in your account as well as and email and in-app confirmation of the transaction needs to be sent to the user. So this is the story, next story, which we are trying to build. Any questions, team, on this story?
Yeah, I see Deepika is having a question for you.
So, Kriti,
Deepika, can go unmute.
Yes, I had a concern regarding the security issues here. So in case I have lost my mobile and I have not set any screen lock, app lock, anything or like that. So how is that taken care? Like security issues are considered and how it is overcome? What are the measurements taken here to resolve those security issues?
Right. So if you know the beta version of the app which we had developed, where we have the fingerprint scanner, right? So without your fingerprint scan, the app is not going to open. So if that is not going to open, then this functionality will definitely not work. So security part we can cover with that. Did I answer your question, Deepika, or anything else which you would like to ask?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Deepika. Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Okay, I see Arun also is having one question for this. Arun?
Yeah, Shavik. So, Kirti, regarding the security thing, I know we have the QR card, we have to go into the app to access the QR code. How about can we include another level of authentication by entering the debit card pin in the ATM machine? It's kind of another authentication. Can we do that?
Sorry, Arun, I just could not hear your question. Can you just please repeat once?
So along with the QR code scanning in the ATM machine, can we add another level of authentication by entering the debit card pin in the ATM machine so that we don't have to worry about the security thing? It's double validated.
Yeah, a good point. I think I need to talk to my stakeholders about this because yeah, so I'll just get back on this. I'll just put it on my notes and I'll just get back on this. Yeah.
Okay, so it seems there are a few clarification that is needed here. But I see Neha is also having a question on this. Maybe Neha, you can unmute yourself and.
Yes, Shavik. So Kirti, like the question is, the another account refers to different user account, or what it means here?
Another user account, sorry Neha, I didn't get this question.
Here in user story, it is written that account to another account.
Okay, I want to withdraw cash from my bank account to another account. Sorry, it's just that I want to easily withdraw the cash.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just good catch. Yeah, I'll just correct this.
Okay, thank you, Kirti.
No problem.
That's what QA are for, right? Okay. Priya, I see
you do a very good job
have...
on that front. Really appreciate it.
Okay, Priya, maybe you can go next with your question.
Yes. So is it the same current balance? The limit would be a daily 50,000 only, or it could be changed for this, Kirti?
No, we are going to go with the same 50,000 limit.
Okay.
Okay, shall I add that as well?
Yes.
That would be good to have that clarity.
Sure. Good point. Yes.
Okay. Any more question on this user story, guys? Okay. I don't see any. But Kit, it seems like we still have some open question for business.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. Yes.
So is it a good idea for you to go check with them, and maybe we can once you have more clarity around it, we can take this up in next refinement?
Yeah, fair enough. Yes. I'll just get some more clarity on this based on the another layer of security, because that is definitely going to impact the estimates and the level of complexity. I do understand. So I'll just get the clarity on this and I will get back on this. It's okay, Shavik?
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Thanks, Kiti. Maybe in that case, we can move on to the next user story.
Sure. So the next one says, as a regular Fintech app user, I want to deposit a check on my bank account using the Fintech Mobile App so that I can deposit my money quickly and avoid theft while running to the bank. So there's just a little bit of pun added in the story. But the thing is that we would like to build this app where when we click, let's say suppose when we click any picture of the check from our mobile app, then that amount should get deposited in our bank account. And so without cash, actually, basically, but you are actually depositing the cash through the check. So let's say suppose somebody has given you a check. So you are clicking a picture of that through the app itself. The in-store gallery images will not work for that. So you have to click the image through the app itself, and then the money should be debited from the person who has given you the check, and money should be credited in your account, or vice versa, whoever is using the app. Fair enough. So I'll just go through the acceptance criteria. User can log into the mobile app. User can enter the desired amount to deposit. The picture needs to be clicked through app of the checks. The system processes and validates the authenticity of the deposit. Accounts are updated after the validations within 24 hours. Email and in-app confirmation of transactions are sent. So any questions, team?
Team, anyone has any questions on that? Yeah, I see Arun is having something.
So regarding, taking the pictures of a check, I think we have existing functionality used in another project. We can leverage that, and we can try to use this as part of the development. That is something we can consider. Yeah.
Sure, Arun, that would be great. Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Yeah, Priya.
Okay, so here also, sorry, same question for all three. Again, the check deposit used to say, does we do have any upper limit for the checks as well? Like amount wise?
No, for deposit, we don't have any limit.
Any amount we can do that.
Yeah, we can deposit, yes. Shall I add it?
Yes, but we should have some bank limit, right, for that particular check deposit.
Okay, I will check this again and I'll get back to you. But once I discussed with the stakeholders, they were not of the opinion because the amount is coming to the bank. So they were happy with it, but I will just go back and check once. Okay?
Okay.
Great. Any more point, guys?
I have
one more question. Sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Go ahead.
What about the license and all about this particular application? How we will get the license? Is it a third-party application or how it is?
The validation. Sorry, somebody was saying.
Priya, we are trying to use the existing functionality, but we have to do a research on that, how we can integrate with our app and use it. But if you're talking about different licensing, external softwares, then there will be added cost to the company. That also need to be considered. But for now existing functionality, we have to have a research on that.
Okay. Okay, fine. So we can develop this kind of application in-house as well, right? Or do we really require the third party or one?
We need to research to understand how critical, how difficult it would be. Based on that, we can resolve. Okay. We need to understand the existing functionality.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, we would like to go in-house for this because if we involve the third party, we'll be paying the licensing cost, and our customer data we cannot we cannot expose them to the third party, and said there are a lot of security aspects which get into because we are dealing with crucial info. So we would like to build this in-house. Yes.
Okay, so I have seen the similar application in other modules and other business units, so we can discuss it offline about that.
Okay. That would be great. Yes, that would be great. Yeah.
Okay, Kirti, just a quick thought. I'm just thinking building a in-house app may take a long time and it may impact the deliverables that we have in mind as per our PI planning, right? So the point someone suggested, like the third-party app, right? Is it possible that we can do a quick spike to just have a quick check how feasible that is? What are the security controls over there? If it matches to our requirements, maybe it will save us some time. Just a thought.
Sounds good. Let's do a spike first. Let's do the POC kind of a thing, and then maybe we can just talk about what security issues we are having, if there are any. So, we can go ahead with that. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with this approach.
Great. So I'll need some volunteers here, like who have some time in this sprint to spend few hours doing the spike.
I can do it, sure.
Oh, great, Arun. You need any helping hand?
Not now, but I will reach out.
Okay, and it will not impact whatever commitments were given in current sprint, right?
Yes, it won't.
It will not. Oh, yes.
It won't.
It won't. Okay, great. Okay, Arun. So by when we can hear from you?
By tomorrow.
Fair enough. So what I'll do, Arun, I'll set up a call maybe between Keerti, you and me. So the whole team is not required, just to understand what are the outcomes from your spike. And once we decide whether to go with that approach, like in-house approach or taking the third-party app, we'll again involve the complete team in next refinement, and we'll get back to this story.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Arun, for picking that up.
Thank you.
Venkata has
Thank
something
you.
to add. Yeah, Venkata.
Yeah, I'll come to that. Yeah, Venkata, please, if you have any questions on this.
Yes. Do we have any time limit? Banks won't allow to deposit of checks after 2-3 p.m. right in regular banks. So how do we go with that in this scenario?
No, since this is app based and we are already having a timeline of 24 hours for validations, so we are good with any time. Once the user does it, then maybe 24 hours we give the bank to have the validations in place.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Okay, any more question on this? On other acceptance criteria that we have, apart from the one which you have taken for spike? Okay, I don't see any hand raised. So, so Keerti, maybe we can park it as of now. Once we get the outcome from the spec that Arun is working, we can take this up later.
Sure, let's do it then. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so just a second, there's a glitch.
FMAU 5 next, Keerti?
Sorry?
Is it FMAU 5 the next one?
Yeah, FMAU 5. I'm just not able to open it. Just a second. Huh? Yeah. So, okay. So the next one is, as a regular Fintech app user, I want to create a new bank account using the Fintech Mobile App. The user can open the app. A user is prompted a list of personal information questions. The user can submit the required documentation for validation, such as government issue ID, virtual video KYC to take place and documents to be validated, email, SMS, and in-app confirmation to be sent. The user can start using the app's banking feature and start transacting. Okay? So this is another user story what we have, where we would like to open a new bank account for our customers through our app itself, and they don't need to visit the branch to have a new bank account. So any questions, team, on this?
Yeah, I see Neha is having a question. Neha, please go ahead.
Yeah. So Keerti, to open an account, is there any minimum balance required to be maintained?
A very good point. So we would like to start with zero balance currently. I'll just mention it. But once 3 months period is there, then we can start having the minimum balance. So I'll just add that in the user story.
Sure. And one more point, like how the virtual video KYC would be done.
Virtual, okay, so what is going to happen is once you are actually now, if you'll see, we are during the COVID time and everything, we are going all virtual, right? So people don't want to go to place where it's crowded, and any other functionality which we can give to get more customer base. This we are targeting more on the video KYC, where once the documents are submitted and it's validated, there'll be a video conferencing arranged with the bank personnel and the customer, and there the person who is going to open the bank account, the customer is going to show the documents in the real time in the video conferencing itself, and that should be functional through our app and not through any external Zoom to have the security in place. So that is how the goal and vision of this functionality is.
Okay, understood. Team, do you have any question regarding this virtual video KYC?
Team, you can think around the risk or dependency to implement this.
Yeah, how about, the bank account user is not available in the video KYC?
Bank account personal is not available?
For the video KYC, let's say, not available or it does not have any network. So,
yeah, so once the documents are submitted and validated, based on the slots of both bank personnel and the user, customer, we're going to arrange this call. It should be a callback and not just on the runtime once the user starts creating the account. So that is what we aim at.
Okay, what I think, like we have to remove this virtual video KYC from this current user story, because we are not clear like how we will be doing the virtual KYC.
Okay, so you mean to say in this sprint we'll not be able to do it, or we are technically currently facing issues in not being able to do it?
Currently we are not able to do this, and in upcoming sprint we can take this. Maybe the show we can confirm more on this point.
Yeah, okay, so it seems sorry Kitty, please go ahead.
No, just go ahead. I was just trying to figure out what should be the workaround, so that instead of the virtual video, what can we do to make things life easier for the customer? So I'm also thinking on it. Yeah, Shavik, you can go ahead with your point.
Yeah, I was just thinking like this virtual video, it's kind of a new for the team. Like it may be the first time the team is going to implement. So if we're going to make it part of this user story, it's going to be too big, or may not be able to complete in a single sprint. Any thoughts, or anyone I want to add on top of this? Arun, Sashank.
Yeah, I think we can slice the story if possible, so that we can have a lesser effort in terms of having only a single story, wherein we can focus more on virtual KYC alone, and we can come up with the required technical tasks that we can add, and that we can work on the virtual video KYC.
Yeah. Okay, I was just thinking. So yeah, sorry, Shavik. Yeah. Go ahead.
In case we are taking this out, like virtual video KYC as a separate user story, maybe I know people that there is a center of excellence team who already built something on the similar lines. Maybe good. I can find a point of contact, get some training arranged in the next sprint, so that they can share their learnings and we don't have to reinvent the wheel from scratch.
Sounds good. So
we can do that, but yeah, Keith, you have to figure out what is the workaround in case you are taking this off.
Okay, I don't think this will be the showstopper for us for now. We can just go ahead with actually onboarding the customers and then having a physical KYC done for them. So, okay, I'll just change this user story for now, and let's wait for your session with the team so that we can progress further on this, maybe in the upcoming sprints.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for accommodating. I see Priya is also having a question here. Priya, please go on.
Yeah, Kirti, you have said the government ID. So is there any specific government ID they have to send it for validation, or any government ID will be okay?
Any government ID, voters card, Aadhaar card, one for the address proof for sure, Aadhaar
Bank
card or
account.
passport. Sorry?
Bank account, government bank account would also do, right? Because it's also part of.
Currently, we are not catering that. Either passport or Aadhaar card is what we are planning to. Voters ID for ID proof. Currently we need to stick to that. Then we'll see, maybe if there are cases, too many cases, then we can go ahead with bank accounts. Yes, then.
So we have a specific choice at the moment, right? That's what.
No, yeah, correct. So this should be the standard, like what we are doing for all of the banks currently we are doing. So that ways we can just go ahead with that.
Okay.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you.
And good to have these 2 points clarified in the acceptance criteria. I see Shankri is also having a question here. Shankri.
Yeah, so either it is going to be a video or physical account creation. Is there any timeline, instant account activation will be done? How it is?
So in case of physical KYC, it should not be the case. We will not give in video. We could have thought about doing it operational from the next day itself. But since this is now physical, I think I need to speak to my stakeholders. What should be the timeline we need to decide on? Okay.
Okay, but this open question will not have any impact on this user story,
no,
right?
currently I don't think, even if it is something which we need to take on, maybe we can take an upcoming sprint. So current sprint, we can just go ahead with this. This added on validation, maybe we can take in the upcoming sprint.
Great. Okay, you're almost on the mark of 10 minutes, guys. So any more questions on this particular user story?
No, Shavik.
Okay, great. Then let's do a quick first of 5 estimation for this one. On a count of 3, maybe you guys can shoot all together. Okay, yeah, 1, 2, 3. 8, I see 8, 5, 8. So most of them are 8. I think Shankri is showing 5, right? Shankri, you showed 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you are one of the outliers. So please explain.
Yeah, I thought
what is your thought?
Yeah, as this is normal, if it is going to be normal physical KYC, we can go with 5. If team is going with 8 story points, we can go ahead with that.
Okay, fair point. But yeah, anyone who has given it, what do you think about the thoughts that Shankri is having? Since it's manual KYC, will it be 5 or anyone can go unmute and share the thoughts? Why 8?
I think, yeah, may I go ahead?
Yeah, please.
So I think, yeah, so the use cases that are really needed to be tested and also to be developed are more here. And also the testing efforts also could be more, because we need to ensure that the existing regression impact is not there much based on the new changes that we're doing. So I think considering that, the efforts are a little high towards that end is what I think.
Great. Yeah, I do agree. So yeah, Shankri, are you fine with that?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, then let's go ahead with 8. Kirti, if you can update 8
Sure.
I'll update this one. And we can move to the next KPI. And what I'll do is I'll talk to the Center of Excellence team. I'll try to arrange the call on that video implementation.
Really appreciate that, Shavik. Thank you. Okay, so the next one says, as a regular Fintech app user, I want to contact customer care service through my Fintech app so that my queries are resolved. So, so the acceptance criteria says that user can log into the mobile app. The user can click and contact the customer care, be it email, call, or chat. The user can talk to the customer care executive for any concern. Service request can also be raised from the app, and there is an email to document and validate the concern. So this is very important step, team, because when the customer care actually picks up the call, and normally there's nothing documented. So the next time the customer calls back, they have to explain the entire scenario again. So we need to avoid that in our current app. So we want this to be documented on email as well as in our app. So any questions on this, team?
Yeah, I see lots of hands raised. So yeah, Neha, you can go first.
Sure. Yeah. So Kirti, is there any timing to contact the customer support through calls?
No, we are available 24/7 currently. So that's the plan. That's what we have discussed. Do you want me to add it in the user story? So there'll be no timing validation
we can
currently.
add here an acceptance criteria like
okay.
24/7.
Okay. Okay. Works?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Kirti.
Thank you.
Okay, Deepika, you may go next.
So how is the response time is tracked here, like how the issues are resolved and how it will be tracked? Like any preloaded questions will be like in case the customer is reaching via chat, anything like that instead of calls. So how is the track? Any preloaded questions into the database or any questionnaires that will be listed? So that part I need to cross-check.
Yes, very good point, Deepika. Yeah. So we are planning to have a basic set of questionnaires for the app, okay, for the chat thing, so that the users can actually get the answer readily available. And as in when we are getting the questions recorded more and more in the database, we are going to add it, but that is part of the next upcoming feature. So we are not including it now, the recording and the AI part of it. So we'll be taking it up later, but currently this is what we are planning to have.
Okay, so we can provide our service, like any feedback is there. So if we are not convinced with those solutions, whatever is provided, so it will be like any form kind, it will be available for us to submit our surveys or anything like that?
Yeah, so surveys will be taken, but as I told that currently we are just building on the MVP. So we are currently, because it will then exceed mostly, it will become more and more complex. So we just want to have this one initial draft of it. So currently we are not catering that. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
A very good point. Yes.
Thank you.
So I will put that in user story that currently surveys are not part of this. You want me to add it?
Yes.
Or you're good?
Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Kirti is adding. Sashank, you have anything?
Yep. So I was just thinking, like how we have IVR for most of the banks or the credit card services that we have. So are we also planning to have any IVR service? Because it will be easy for the customers to direct through a certain procedure so that they can do it by themselves instead of waiting for on-call support. You know, right? Sometimes the on-call support, because of the bandwidth or the traffic, they take some time for a customer service to attend to a customer. So any plan for that as well, Kirti?
Yeah, that's the plan actually, Shashank. We really wanted to have this in current sprint, but do you all think we can accommodate that as a team? So IVR was definitely on the wish list of the stakeholders as well as everybody involved in the project, and that is definitely a go. But do you all think we can accommodate that? If yes, then I can just add it in the story.
I don't think so. We can accommodate for this particular.
Because IVR is again altogether a different ball game, right? So
yes.
To give a certain statements or a certain standard lines or a template that we need to follow.
Correct.
At every step, there are n number of sequences or flows that we have based on the request of the customer.
Yes, so I understand. Yeah.
That will be a kind of another different story where
yes.
I think
so we are trying to have that feature later in the cycle. Yes.
Sure. We can add that in the backlog in the next
segment. Sure.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you, Shashank.
Shankri, maybe you can go.
Yeah, it's just a thought. Like nowadays, some banks are providing a return call facility. So won't it be an added advantage?
Yes. So when we are calling the customer care, And let's say suppose they are busy or the line is busy for more than 3 minutes, then maybe a callback can be arranged. Yes, that's a good point.
Right. Any more questions from anyone? Though, Kiki, just a thought, like, though events are not just for you, team, I think this story looks straightforward, but there are too many things onto it. Do you think it's a good idea if we can,
yes, for breakdown, it will be a good approach if we can split into subtasks.
Yeah, it will help you guys with the estimation. Yeah, yes, Ashank, you have anything to add?
Yeah, that is what. So I think it will be easier for us to do a better planning if we try to break down into subtasks this user story, so that because there are too many items, what one person cannot work on the entire story. So we need a collaboration of team members here. So I think it will be a good approach if we can we can add the child now, so we can get an idea or get a vision as to how much efforts it will take.
Yeah, great point. Sure. And I see, so Kirti, maybe what we can do now, since the last story, right, that we have,
yeah,
maybe I'll send the team in a breakout room and they can just discuss among themselves and break down the task for this user story. And then we can come back and then we can estimate and see if there are any more questions or not.
Works.
Cool, I'm putting you guys into breakout room now.
So hey guys, I hope you are all there. I think thanks for joining the breakout. So yeah, so I'm just sharing my screen, guys. So let us take a quick peek on the user story. Let's discuss in detail and let us add the subtasks there, so we know what are things that we can add, right? So all right, so this is the story that we have. And what do you guys think? So what all subtasks that can be added here?
It is regarding tracking the status of the call log or any histories, like what time the call had been received or it has been dialed. So that kind of histories, like providing the status details of the call, or if you have received any incidents, I mean to say service request, how that is tracked.
Yeah, thanks, Deepika.
Yeah,
also,
go ahead, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Neha. Sorry.
Yeah. So, Shashank, the second one can be log the call status. We can like log the call status that we are.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Neha. Arun, would you like to go next?
Yeah, we can implement the resolve status for the service request, so that the status of the request.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Arun. And Priya, would like to go next?
User login and password validation kind of thing we can include in the as a subtask, right? Because that would be required whenever anybody is logging in the application. They need the validation, right? Particularly.
So what is it again?
Login screen validation, you can put it.
Okay, login screen validation. I think login screen validation is already happening as part of other stories as well, right? So do you want to
I think she's talking about the user authentication.
Yes.
Yeah, credential verification.
I think credential verification I'm talking
about. Okay, got it. Okay, so can we say verify user credentials?
That we can give user credential verification kind, like verify user credential.
Cool. Makes sense.
And Shashank,
yeah.
If it is implement resolve status for service request, then we should have to have cancel request for service request as well, right?
Yeah, right.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for bringing that up. So number 5. Are we missing out anything else, guys? So do let me know. Any other thoughts that comes to your mind right now?
Would there be any feedback from the user? Like there should be a feedback link or something should be sent, right? Would that be applicable?
Is it a customer review feedback you're saying?
Yeah.
To track customer review feedback, is it?
Yes.
But the fifth point says, the surveys are currently not part of the user story.
Surveys are currently okay. Surveys are currently part of the user story. Okay, yeah. So I think, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good catch. So because I think this is altogether a different data that we are collecting from the customers, right? So I think that will go into the other table that we were discussing on the other day. So we'll just wait for that user story to come. So maybe we can add those information related to that table. Yeah. Cool. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah.
What about the language? I mean, if the user is of different language, cannot speak English or whatever, how would the call divert? Anything about that?
I think regarding the language, I think we can get a confirmation from Kirti. Is it any region specific or geo specific? You can make a note, Nikita. So once we go back to the actual room from a breakout room, let's get that clarified with Kirti. I think that we can add as the language preferences. Let's get it clarified. I think
Shashank, I think
you're running out of time.
Will be
yeah.
Shobit will.
Thanks, Deepika. Thanks.
Yes, thanks.
And yep. So we have added the tasks, the child stories, child issues, but how about the story? I mean, the hours or the estimates that you would like to give, guys. So how much time do you think it will take for tracking the status, guys?
It can be 4.
4 to 5 hours.
Okay. Sure. Let's give it 5 then. Yeah. How about this one? Log the call status.
6 hours.
6 hours is sufficient, I think.
Okay. How about this one, guys? Resolve status plus service.
Yeah, I would need 8 hours for this.
Okay, cool. Thanks, everyone. How about verify user credentials?
Will take 8 to 9 hours.
9 hours, okay. Yeah. Let's have some buffer, guys. Let's have some buffer because
for verify user credentials, we need to have some security check and all. The credential is matching our DB, those things and all we have to check. So probably, can we increase an hour?
10 hours, yeah. 10 hours would be good enough.
10 hours is fine.
Yeah, because it depends on the dependency also, right? If the server is down or something, right? It takes some time.
Some kind of risk we may face when we are validating the user's credentials.
Right. Makes sense. Good point, Sanjay. And how about the last one, guys? What do you think for cancellation?
I think it will not take much time. So 4 hours is sufficient for it.
Half of the resolved status for service request. So cancellation will take half of them.
Okay, cool. Makes sense. Yeah. So we are just reusing the same component. So yeah, that will be.
Also, Shashank, is that call recordings are part of the story, or that would be a different story?
I think that's a different story. We'll come to it.
Sure.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Nikita. So are we good, guys? Shall we jump back to the room, or you have any other questions? Like Nikita had one point regarding the language. We'll get it clarified with Kirti once we are back to the room. Any questions?
No, we are good.
Awesome.
Yeah, we are good.
Cool. Thanks, guys. So let's jump back to the room. Yeah. I hope they're waiting for us. Yeah. Let's go back.
Hey, hi guys. Welcome back. So
hello.
I hope you had a good discussion.
Yeah, sure. So we had a good discussion there, and let me quickly share my screen again here in this room. Yeah. So we'll see. We can show you what child issues that we come across and what we have added. And we added these child issues, that is track the status child issues, nothing but the subtask. So track the status, which we have given an estimate of close to 5 hours, and then log the call status, which we have given an estimate for 6 hours based on the dependencies, the risks and challenges, right? So based on all the factors that we are giving the estimate. Implement result status for service request, close to 8 hours now. Because we have for the resolve status, we are taking 8 hours. It's just the cancellation status. We are using the similar components. So we're taking half of the time. So we're saving time there. And verify user credentials comparative, because it's related to security. So it will take some more time. It also depends on the server and other impacted other items as well, right? So we have given 10 hours here. Yeah. So I hope this is good. And with that, I think with this hourly estimates of these child issues, guys. So, so what do you think? Yeah, I think we can start estimating for this story, right? In terms of
yeah. Sure, Shank. And yeah, before that, I'm just assuming that you guys thought through all the risk dependencies while giving the hourly estimates and creating the task.
Great.
Yes,
yeah.
That's what I call a mature team. Okay. Kirti, you have any questions with the task breakdown that your team has done?
I think you're on mute.
Yeah. No, we are good actually. It's a good breakup. So we are good. Yeah.
And,
okay.
Call types for the language.
Oh yeah, my bad. So yeah, Venkata had one question, Kirti. So yeah, Venkata, please go ahead.
Yeah. So is there any common language like English is fixed, or like some other languages also should be used, right? If somebody is familiar with other regional languages, it should get diverted to that particular language and all.
Language localization is what we are targeting at. Currently, we'll just go ahead with English for now. English and Hindi, that's it.
Oh.
But local language is what we are going to have in the upcoming features. As I suggested, this is just the MVP, so we need to have the functionality in place first. Yes. Do you see any change in the architecture or anything if we have it in the later cycle, or we are good for now?
I think we are good for now. So we can begin with the MVP. I think we can deliver the MVP in English for now, and then we can keep on adding the geo languages based on the customer service where we extend.
Yeah, localization is what is needed, maybe, but in the upcoming sprints, yes.
Sure. Any questions, guys? Before Shavik starts allowing us to start estimating for the story.
No, Shashank.
Great, great. Good conversation. Okay, before we go to the estimation for this story, just a quick reminder. For the task, whatever estimation you guys have given, those are like effort estimation, right? And you remember that story estimation factor in multiple things. It's not just the effort estimation, but as well as the risk dependencies and then complexity of the user story, right? So just keep that in mind, because you guys just give the effort estimation. So I don't want you guys to be confused and think just about the efforts. Okay, with that being said, let's do a story estimation for this one. On the count of 3 again, show me your first of 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I see a few are giving 5. Neha, if you can go back a little, it's 8, right? Okay, 8, 8, 8, 8. Okay, most of you are on 8, so I think we're good, right? Or I'm missing anyone? Everyone is 8? Priya, you have not voted. 8, you are also 8. Cool, unanimous decision this time. I think the breakout session helped this time. So Sashank, since you are sharing the screen, maybe you can just update the board. Okay, great. Kirti, we covered all the 5 stories that we planned for today's refinement, or is there anything else that you want to discuss?
No, we are done. Really good session, team. Thank you. Yeah.
Good. Good. So I'll just quickly do a recap. Okay. So out of who was sharing, someone stopped sharing. Maybe we can go back to the board. It will be easy for.
Shavik, we didn't get you. You want the screen to be shared?
Yes.
Okay, 1 minute. Wait. Just a second. Yeah, you want the stories? Backlog?
Yeah, backlog. I'll just do a quick recap and this will help. So as we discussed, the first user story, it's good. We have estimated it 5 story points, and it is good to take up in our next sprint, or if we decide that it's of higher priority. The next one, FMAU 3, there are open questions for which Keith is going back to the business and get that clarity, and then maybe we can take this up in our next refinement case.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. And the other one, FMAU 4. As we decided that Arun will do a quick spike on this one, and based on the outcome, so Arun had give us a commitment that he will be having something, some outcome by tomorrow. So Kirti, you, me, and Arun will catch up, see what is the outcome, what is the most feasible, and then we can take this up again in the next refinement along with the team. Yeah, sounds good. Then the next one, FMAU 5. So we have already taken out one of the acceptance criteria, that is the video implementation. So we'll create separate user story for that. And as discussed, I'll talk to the people from Center of Excellence team and find a point of contact who can come and guide us and help us with whatever they have implemented so far. And again, that new user story we can discuss in the next refinement if possible. Kirti, you can decide the priority of that. Okay, and yeah, taking that out, this user story the team has estimated as 8:1. So this is again good to be taken up in the coming of sprints. And the last user story, FMAU 6, the task breakdown is already happened, though it looks quite a like effort-wise, it's quite a big story. But we'll see during the sprint planning whether it can be taken up in a single sprint or not. So anyone want to add on top of it if I'm missing anything?
No, Shuvik, I think you have covered everything.
I think we are good with the current backlog refinement and adding some more. We made lots of changes to the current acceptance criteria, and we created some spikes as well. So this will really help us for the next sprint planning, I think. I think once we get the prioritization from Kirti during the next sprint planning, I think we can, we are already ready for the next sprint items. Yeah.
Great, yeah.
So team, I'll just discuss with the stakeholders about all the queries which I have noted down in the comment section of every story. So I'll just get back by next week or so with all the answers.
Cool. I think we are good then. Thanks everyone. Thanks for your time. And one more point, like sometimes what happens is out of the meeting, we have some realization about this user story. So if you have any other point coming up in your mind at later point of time, feel free to get in touch with me or Kirti. You can again have a connect, right?
Definitely,
cool then.
definitely.
Yeah. Sure. Thanks everyone for your time. We had a great session.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone.
Bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you everyone.